Ah, I, what's this say that I don't have? So this should be fun. Hold on. Huh. Well, it says that there's no video. Um, and I see video. Still waiting for my other people. So all told, this should be an interesting time. I get so much more confused doing Zoom on my phone than on my computer, but I lost my microphone in my headphones. Well, looks like I have video happening, whether it wants to acknowledge it or not. And I certainly have my crochet project here, which has been interesting working on my original Tomte, which if you saw my Facebook post reminding people of tonight, I said that I would be working on my Tomte, Tomte. If anybody is certain of the proper pronunciation, please do let me know. Tomte. It's also called Nisse, Nisse. Um, it's the Scandinavian type style gnome, and I think I have Elisa.
Hi. They're not here yet?
Nope. Eh? My yarn is. I hate when
Look,
that happens.
the guts came out,
At least it wasn't too much of it this time.
right? End up with like a little mini skein.
Right. When it's like the whole inside. This was just a little knot. You know, this really looks less like it's going to be a Tomte, however it's pronounced, and more like it's aiming to be a pointy hatted, those neck warmers that like leave a hole for the face. So it has the hat and
Oh
the
yeah.
like around the neck and shoulders. It looks like it's a miniature one of those, but with a pointy hat. So what you working on? Are you still working on your shawl?
Uh, with my one for work, I haven't touched that in like a month. Um, it's not
Isn't
done yet.
isn't that what you were working on during our last bookcraft session?
Was it? I do not know. Um,
I make this.
I am currently working on. Let me see if I can show you.
It's hard.
It's a heart. It was my February temperature thing, and it is so huge. I'm like, at this point, I'm just gonna make it for myself for my bed. It's so huge. This is
I
only
love
one half.
I love the colors. Me being the winter girl that I am.
I'm surprised there's the orange is like 50 over 50. And you see there's like 2 strips of orange in here. This is February.
Uh-huh. And with the yellow on either side and the like white and blue mixed together like that, is that white or is that a light blue?
It's a light pink with blue.
Light
With
pink.
a purple. It's a
Anyway,
purple.
the colors look really nice together, is what
They
I'll say.
do. You know,
Mm.
I have a gray for below 0 and um a white for 1 to 10 degrees. And then I have a blue for 11, 20 degrees. And it's not on here at all.
I
I
mean,
mean, look,
who would have that in February?
I have 2 blue stripes on my entire temperature scarf. Just 2. I'm like, no white, just blue in 2 spots. That's it.
I need to. So I'm working through my original pattern of this because when I first made it, um there were well, I was going to specifications of an order, but I was also going based on what I was able to create within the time frame of the order. Um and it was just the hat and then straight down for the body and then like the big nose on front. And and then she didn't like the size of the nose. Um Wanted it a bit smaller. And I liked the way that it came out, but I'm not like I wasn't 100% sold on it, especially looking back at it after. I think the body was maybe a little bit longer than it should have been.
Mm.
What just happened? My
I
phone
don't
just
know.
like my phone just blinked and then switched to my fan fiction app, which was still open from I was reading earlier, but I don't know why it blinked out and switched to that. Um, and now I'm watching because there's like the time delay on YouTube. It like actually blacked out the screen there.
Yeah, it's just a picture of your little thumbnail, yeah. So
That was
I'm
weird.
surprised Karen's not here yet. It's getting pretty late.
Yeah.
I barely had time to listen to the book today because I was held at work until 5 o'clock. So
Yikes. I
yeah.
um I only read the first chapter because I forgot how much longer these chapters are and I did not leave myself adequate time.
The second one is so sad.
While we're waiting,
Oh, was that your curing soap?
yep. So this is my all natural one. No scents, no color, just soap because we have so many allergies in my family. And kind of smell vaguely smell the cocoa butter in it. And then this is my berry soap.
Hmm. I like the berry soap. It looks pretty.
I was going to work on more, but well, but for other people, um, that back pain. I went to the doctor about that back pain today because I was like, I'm no stranger to back pain. But usually, this level of pain in my low back doesn't last for a month, and today is
Right,
one of the
yeah.
good days. Um, and he confirmed that it is sacroiliac pain, the same thing that I dealt with when I was in my first trimester with my son, and I must have done something to throw it back out again. Um, and where I had a back injury in high school, um, and it was in that same area. So then that's probably what caused me to have that pain when I was pregnant with my second son. And I'm not pregnant, just to be clear, but, but I do have that same kind of pain again. and he figures I must have, as I was working on stuff, just where it's been out before, um, and is an area that has had different injuries built up over time and things. Um, so he put me on a medicine to help relax it. But he also gave me some specific exercises um, that are different from what I originally or what I usually do for my back, but it's something that's specifically designed to help pop that back into place. Um, so that's what I'm going to be doing after Bookcraft tonight. Um,
We have a Karen.
have a Karen.
We do, if Karen can get her
Um,
stay up.
yeah.
Karen, we'll have to rewatch
Speaking
the
of,
video to see the soaps that I showed.
speaking of doctors, I saw mine too yesterday. One was my chiropractor, and I threw my back out with the last storm. I was a half inch off. Um, so he fixed that, but I also finally got that removed
Oh, good,
yesterday.
good.
So, I haven't
Show
looked at it
deep
yet.
into the whole internet.
It's still bandaged. I haven't taken it off yet. You're supposed to leave it covered for like 24 to 48 hours. So I'm gonna check it out after I shower.
Yeah. Um. Well, anyway, because of that, and a couple other minor factors, but mostly because of how bad my back has been, I haven't gotten the next couple batches of soap made. Um. So I've got those two that I made a little over a week ago. And I'm hoping that I can manage to do another one tomorrow. Hopefully the medicine plus the exercises he gave me to do will get my back to a place that I can make another batch of soap tomorrow. But I can't. I'm also supposed to be it's supposed to be like timing myself to let my business partner know how long it takes me to make a batch of soap. And I'm like, right now I have no microwave, so I'm melting the oils on stovetop instead of in the microwave. I have a broken kitchen sink, so I'm having to go further for actually washing anything because my downstairs bathroom sink is too small for it. So I have to take it upstairs. And I have like major back pain, so even when I'm actually able to make soap, it's not at the regular speed. I'm like, you might want to wait a little bit before we time me because we want to make sure we get some sort of accurate time.
Right.
Look at that. Owning my own business and time studies are still never done.
I time study myself all the time. Like I will time myself on how long I think a row will take, and then I'll guesstimate how long a row will take, and then I'll time myself on the row. So I do it to myself too, all the time. But honestly, I hear you. My sleep apnea is getting really bad. I did my live last night and I looked absolutely horrible. Um, and I've decided I'm debating putting it off for another month until I can get my sleep study done and um picking my shop back up in May when I'm awake and actually can function.
Yeah,
So
I had noticed this when you were talking and you were like gesturing with your hand like this, as you were talking, but then it like showed up on I have the YouTube video up on my laptop behind my phone, and it looked like you were saying crazy. Anyway, Karen, hi.
Hi. Sorry I'm late. I fell asleep on the couch reading the book and lost track of time.
I
Obviously.
mean,
so
like I told Lisa, I was on time today, but I have only read the first chapter because I forgot how much longer these chapters are and didn't leave myself adequate time.
I had to
Yeah,
listen to it on
so
1.5 speed so I could read it in time. Yeah, so
long.
did you
So I
finish
mean,
the
if
second
you
one?
want to, I would be okay with just discussing the first chapter.
I did finish the second one.
The second one's
Um,
bad.
I
Okay,
finished it at
so
7:01. Okay.
uh,
And then I was like, I gotta go to the bathroom. I gotta get my shirt on. Like, not
get
ready to.
dressed for the live. There you go.
Yeah, I was in my nightgown. I was not ready to be in front of a camera.
I hear you.
But we could talk about just the first chapter. We could do that.
Yeah.
I just drop the whole phone down on my lap.
Ugh. I just had a giant knot that I had to get out of my string. I brought it to work for an overnight. Oh, when was it? That Saturday I worked during the storm, so a week and a half ago. And it's like, I brought it to work with me, and I ended up getting a giant knot in the string, so I never finished. I just finally took the knot out. So
I'm on the last row of my big heart, Karen.
oh wow, it's so pretty.
So you've
It's so
always,
huge. Huh?
I said, oh, Lisa, you've always had a big heart.
I know. Thank you.
But,
Big heart never end.
A
I
few
don't
of
know
my
if you
coworkers currently wouldn't agree, but that's okay.
don't even remember this bracelet from last time.
Ooh.
I finished the purple side and am now working on the pink side.
Nice.
No, nothing there.
All right, so we'll just do chapter 5 today. We'll do
I feel like it's long enough to take us, especially where we're already almost to 20 minutes left. 20, 40. I meant to say 40 minutes left. 20 minutes
We're 20
gone.
minutes in.
20 minutes in, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
It's titled Patty Pans.
Patty Pan. I feel like I've been doing the synopsis lately. Anyone else want to?
So
I haven't in a while.
Patty Pans is about what Daisy does during the day when the boys are studying and or doing whatever they do. And she's decided she's bored of all the games that they play, so she asks her Aunt Jo to give her a new game to play.
Well, she's bored of most of her games, and they wouldn't let her play football with her because girls aren't allowed to. So
And Aunt Jo agreed that probably playing with a bunch of boys would be a little too rough than when she just plays with her twin brother.
yeah,
I love that she has so much pride in having a twin. It's so cute.
Yeah. She's like,
it's the greatest honor that could ever be bestowed upon her.
was to have a twin brother.
To have a twin.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
a twin in general, Karen. Just the
general.
twin.
So tell me, is it?
No.
I mean, in my experience, Karen's always there for me, even when no one else is. Always has been. She puts up with me. She gets me better than anybody else, and we can go from yelling at each other 1 minute to having had a huge disaster and be able to call them the next and just like be comforted. And
It's not for lack of trying. I have literally been like, I'm never answering her phone call ever again. And then 5 minutes later, I'm answering the phone.
Not for lack of trying. You just fail at not being there for her.
she puts up with so much from me. I am so high maintenance. I'm not even joking.
I know the feeling.
Yeah.
I tell my
But
husband the same thing frequently. Like, why
she's
put
just having a twin. It's a built-in best friend, and I know that sounds generic, but it truly is. Like,
Having
and when
that
I tell
somebody
Karen that
there,
I want that like I need a bestie, she knows she's excluded from that automatically. Like when I say I
automatically.
don't have any friends, she knows that I'm not talking about her. Like it's like like she knows she's already included. Like it's
That's the same reason that my sister, my next older sister, and I are, even though we're not twins, I've always said that we might as well be twins. Of course, growing up, she was, I was more like, I don't know, blah about, I didn't really care one way or the other. but she was very, very adamant that we were not the same age. She was older than I am, and she got to do things before I did, even though she didn't always get to do things before I did because we were so close in age that my parents didn't always differentiate. And even when she did, yep, you're 12, you can watch this thing now that we said that you guys aren't allowed to watch till you're 12. And she's like, I can watch this without you. And then she hated not having me to watch it with.
Sounds very familiar. Yep.
Yep, I know that feeling.
See,
Mom,
we're
I
basically
don't need you anymore. But do you want to do this with me?
Yeah.
Oh.
And-
Honestly, Karen living in New York, the 5 years Karen was in New York was probably the hardest 5 years of my life.
It was
I can
so
imagine.
hard. Like
you two already know this, but speaking of, kids that might as well be twins, my children. And
Yeah.
my oldest turns 12
you
on
can
Friday.
make Micaiah for an extra 2 years.
And I will just tell the entire internet that I'm sure one day he will be so angry with me for telling the entire internet this, but he turned 12 on Friday. He woke up with a pimple on Saturday. His first pimple. And I was like, I don't think that that's actually supposed to be that precise in timing.
My niece is 11 and she's had her first pimple. So, I mean,
She's, yeah. I mean, they're pretty close in age.
yeah.
And, I mean, after all, last week he was still 11.
She's got 6 months. She got
Yeah,
less
the
than
fact-
6 months.
It was
Yeah.
like as soon as he turned 12, I was like, oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
That's hilarious.
But
Yeah.
and also I couldn't tell you like when I had my first pimple or anything, but like I didn't have a lot of pimples growing up. Like
Well,
I still get them. They've just been, well scattered throughout my life. But my husband had cystic acne and so he's concerned that our son might take after him in that regard.
oh no.
We'll
Yeah.
see.
I was always fairly good. I'd have one or two, or if I picked at them too much or rubbed them too much, like I get like clusters. But like they're usually like in my temples or something like that. Most places you wouldn't look.
Anyway, I derailed all of that. So she was really, really happy about having her twin, but she really like he's enjoying getting to spend time with other
Other
boys.
boys his age.
She's bored. And did anybody else think when she said she wanted a new play that she meant she wanted her to write a play for her?
Yes, I was thinking she wanted the Joe to make her a new play to act out sort of
No,
thing.
I was totally thinking game, like a little play acting.
I was
That's
thinking asking Joe to create a play for her to play.
It's just the way that it's worded.
And
Make
I
a
guess
play.
I wasn't really thinking about the fact that Joe used to be a writer, like
Joe used to create plays for her and her sisters all the time.
my brain didn't think like that. My brain was like, oh, it's play, little games, like nope. I didn't think a little play story. I thought nope.
It's just the wording of it. Like if she said, I want a new game to play, or I want a new something like that, but saying I want a new play made me think a play.
So
It's
Joe
not a
comes
noun.
up with a new
Play
play.
acting isn't a noun. Anyway, yes. So Joe comes up with an idea.
After Daisy comes up from the kitchen asking if she can instead go make ginger snaps with Asia, the cook, whom they denoted as the black cook. So just to
Yeah, they
add
haven't
that further.
mentioned her before, but they hadn't specified that before. Of course, this is very shortly after the Civil War.
They have a German nanny, remember?
Yeah, named Nursey.
Nursey
They call
is
her
German.
Nursey.
called Nursey. I don't think she's named Nursey, but yeah. But
Well,
yeah,
Anderson.
I mean, Mr. Bear is also German.
Oh wait, is she German?
Yes, she is.
Isn't okay?
Yeah,
I
Mr.
got
Bear
that
is
right.
German.
Okay.
Yep,
The
Mr. Bear is
Hummel,
German.
which I think is part of why they hired her, most likely because Mr. Bear is German. So there's somebody who can speak the language and she did a job. Whichever
Yeah.
Hummel might be, we don't know if she's the mother or one of the kids that were
I
growing
think
up.
based
then.
on the age compared to Joe, I think she's one of the kids.
Did
Did
they give her age?
No, but it's just the way she talks with Joe. It seems almost like she's closer in age to Joe than the mother would have been. So
I don't know.
that
I
was just my
will.
interpretation. I kind of see it as she's one of the kids of one of the Hummel kids. Is it Hummels?
Mhm.
All right.
Anyway, so yeah, Jane. Wow, I was reading a lot of Pride and Prejudice fan fiction again the past 24 hours in particular. Joe was trying to think of a new way for them to play, and had an idea, and then she was like, "I'll do it if it's a possible thing."
Yeah, and so
And
she goes out shopping.
now,
And
second question. She went shopping and got stuff, and then
she left Daisy to go visit her mother and baby Josie.
yep. I have a second
She was
question, but then I was like,
shopping.
we have more to recap before I get to my second question. So yeah. So they have a baby sister. Did we know that they had a baby sister?
I think we did.
Okay. I probably just fully blanked it from my brain because my brain decided it didn't matter at that particular moment, even though at this particular moment my brain was like, yay, ADHD. Um, so, um, yeah, so then Joe comes back with all sorts of things tucked into the carry-all, and Daisy's all curious about what it'll be and wants to go back to Plumfield, but Auntie Joe insists on staying and visiting with Mama. Well, with
Her sister.
Meg, who's Daisy's mama. Anyway, and playing with the baby in her lap and making Mrs. Brooke / Mama / Meg laugh as she's talking about the pranks of the boys and all sorts of droll nonsense and basically
Catching
Daisy
up.
bored. And then it turns out that somewhere in there she had conveyed to her exactly what she was doing, and Mrs. Brooke knew what she was doing, and Daisy has no idea how or when she conveyed it to her. And I was like, I've had those conversations.
I've had those conversations.
Yes. Secrecy.
But they're headed back, and she hears stuff rattling in the back of the carriage, and she wants to know what it is, and she tells her she tells her it's the new play, see, even that they're calling it the play. I'm like, who refers to playing as the play, or a game to play as the play? Anyway,
See,
I'm sure
she's talking about all these things. There's tin, there's this, there's brass, there's all these things and components to it. And she's trying to guess, and then she says, starts to say a word, and she stops. And that's when I knew what it was.
Okay, before that, when she says iron, tin, wood, brass, sugar, salt, coal, and 100 other things. Did either of you clock it at that point?
No.
I couldn't
I was
figure it
thinking
out.
like a special playground or something, but I was trying to figure out what the food ingredients were for.
I was thinking like Mousetrap, man. Like the game Mousetrap.
Goldberg existed yet, much less the game Mousetrap. When did it exist? Well, now I have to look that up.
Together and try to like. Oh no, I have no idea. Couldn't figure it out.
It's finished.
Yay!
I just gotta make another side in my spare time, with my 100 other projects.
Wait, hold on. When was Little Men published? Okay, yeah, this was about a decade and a half before Rube Goldberg was born. So the game Mousetrap definitely didn't exist because it's based on Rube Goldberg machines.
Okay.
So I just had to look that up. But no, I looked at that and it was like iron, tin, wood, brass, and sugar and salt. And then, but I didn't get it then, but I got it before she started to say oh. Actually, I love that there isn't even any punctuation. It's just bless me. I nearly told you what it was. But I think it was here it was. No, all for you and Bess. The boys will like to see it and want to play one part of it. But you can do as you like about letting them. And she said, I'll let
very
Demi
confused
if he wants to. And she says, no fear that they won't all want to, especially Stuffy. And Stuffy loves to eat. And that was iron, sugar. It's a cooking stove.
It's a cook set. Woohoo!
It was because she said, no fear that they won't all want to, and is to participate in one part of it. And I was like, Stuffy wants to eat what she makes with it.
Yep.
But it was, you see, it was that, and and then she said, I promised Uncle Teddy that you shouldn't see it till it was all in apple pie order. And I was like, she threw that in on purpose. She is so having her, and at that point I was like, she is definitely having her make an apple pie as the first thing.
Oh yeah,
Because
definitely.
she definitely threw that in on purpose. And it was, yeah, it was after that. She says all in apple pie order, and Daisy's like, if Uncle knows about it, then it must be splendid. And she's like, yes, Teddy went and bought it with me, and we had such fun at the shop. I love that she doesn't even differentiate to her between him and like her son Teddy, who, you know, is not with them but had been earlier in that morning and is when they get back. She's like, for he is the kindest uncle that ever went and bought a charming little bless me. I nearly told you what it was.
Cooking stove.
Cooking stove. I just like there's a space, but I was like,
set because it's a whole cook set.
Before I finished and read I nearly told you what it was, I really was going, for he is the kindest uncle that ever went and bought a charming little bless me. And I was like, that sounds like it would be like a Cockney British expression, bless me. But not the accent I just said it with, but the expression sounds like it would be. And I read it like 3 times before I was like, that was like charming cook bless me. I nearly told you what it was. Yeah. I would have put a dash in there, but you know, that's me.
Well, mine did have a dash.
Oh, mine does. Well, not mine, but Project Gutenberg. It just says bless me, and it doesn't have any punctuation in between.
I
Mine
had
had
the
dash.
audio version, you guys, and
Yeah.
mine went, bless me.
You heard them turn their head and everything.
Well, I didn't say they turned their head, but I kind of see Joe like looking away. Like I see Joe looking away from her, like, oh, bless me. Like, whoops.
You just went Southern again. Oh, bless me.
Bless your heart.
So not intentionally, okay?
I know, and I love it when you do that. I'm like, you know, you've lived in Maine your whole life, right?
I think I have. Tell that to my voice.
I spent more time
you
than you have.
Anywhere else.
I have spent more time in South due to going to college in Florida, but it's really Floribama, and Floribama is far more southern than Florida proper. But I still don't.
I don't even think I have that much of a Maine accent. I mean, it slips in every once in a while, but I don't have a very.
You don't have like a huge one, but you definitely have a detectable one.
We were raised at an age where you had to like work out your accents, like you had to speak proper.
See, I don't know, did that on my own. My father doesn't have much of an accent. My mother has more of a Maine accent than my father, but I can barely even mimic a Maine accent. And again, I've lived here my whole life.
I was speaking to somebody at work the other day. She goes, where are you from? I was like, oh, I was, I'm born and raised in this area. And she goes, say something. And I said something. She goes, you don't have a Maine accent. I was like, well, I used to. Yeah.
That's why
You
you use the phrase "park the car in the dooryard."
you do have a Maine accent though.
Yeah, because I've
Not
brought
as-
it back, but I was like, she's like,
not as strong as a lot of people.
she's like, why did you stop or get rid of it? And I was like, because it wasn't, at the time, like this is how it went. Like you just got rid
Yeah.
of your accent.
Where I grew up, people did not get rid of the accent. I assure you. But then, I wasn't really hanging around with a lot of people either.
Around here, people speak more redneck than Mainer, so
Well, so there's like Maine redneck, which is like around here, and then you go just like over to like Lewiston area or the Rumford area, both of them, it's like Maine ghetto instead.
yep.
It's weird. And then like, you have like the Maine redneck, as you call it, is more like backwoods logger type accent. And then there's like the down east Maine accent over on the coast, which is similar but not.
It's like
People-
we're going through
No-
Maine dialects. Like there's differences.
Nobody on any show ever can get the Maine accent right, except they do a pretty good job on Skylark, the Hallmark Gold Crown series sequel to Sarah Plain and Tall. When they go visit Maine, they do a pretty good job. The people in Maine there do a pretty good job with a decent Maine accent. But other than that, and not a single person on Murder, She Wrote ever.
Well,
Wait, that took place in Maine?
that's a good
That-
question.
That took place in some imaginary land that people in Hollywood called Maine.
Oh, speaking of Hollywood and Maine, Lost on a Mountain in Maine is going to come out as a movie this year.
Wow.
I'm actually really excited about that.
That's
I
gotta
read
be
it in
like,
school as a child. The guy who wrote it, who it's based on his experience, he's actually even was part of the process of making it as well. So he's really excited that
how old is he now?
I want to say like he was definitely 20 when I was a kid, so he's got to be like 50 or 60.
No. No. Because I just Googled when it happened, and I was thinking he was lost in the 50s. So even then he had to be older than that. He was 12 years old when he was lost on a mountain lost on Mount Katahdin in 1939.
What?
Means he's born in 27, so he's like
Almost 100.
97, 90, 96, 97 years old.
Wow.
89, this says. And now I'm even more confused. Oh, he died at 89 years old. So maybe it was somebody who worked with him on it or something that worked on the movie, because he died in 2016 at 89 years old.
Maybe the article I read was maybe it was somebody else then, or his son or somebody. I don't know.
I feel like it's probably somebody who worked with him, or somebody like misquoted it, but in something about it or something.
Probably.
Maybe. But I did find out it was
Definitely
coming
a movie I
later
want
this
to
year.
watch. It's definitely a movie I want to watch though. Ow.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. When I heard about it, I asked my husband about it. I was like, hey, have you ever heard of the book, Lost in the Mountain of Maine? He goes, no. I was like, it was like required reading at my school.
Required
Like,
reading.
It was required reading for pretty much anybody who's ever done Maine studies.
but he's from New York. So he grew up in New York.
That's why. He wasn't here for 8th grade doing Maine studies.
Oh, I think
Yeah,
it was 5th grade we did it in. I want to say it's 5th or
we did it
6th
in
grade.
elementary school. I read it in
Yeah.
elementary school.
We had talked about it in elementary school, but Maine studies was definitely in 8th grade. It's required.
We had
required
U.S. studies. We didn't have Maine studies.
between 6th and 8th grade, but I think most of the schools do it in 8th grade.
Yeah, we did it in 6th grade, I think. But yeah.
Yeah, we had U.S. studies, not Maine studies.
I'm so distracted trying to find this now.
Oh,
Somebody
geez.
Somebody keep
Okay.
talking.
So, back to the story. She has to wait until the next day to see what it is after her studies. Little Miss
Daisy.
Daisy. Her name was not coming to me. And she gets into the nursery and discovers behind a curtain a beautiful little cooking set. It's like at a table, an actual cooking pan tray with an actual stove and a tea kettle with hot water, like everything she could ever need to cook. And she's got a pantry. And to
Okay.
add to the game,
Back to Lost for just a second, and then I will be done with it. He's been working on this for several decades in various forms, so he's probably involved in it at some point within the process of it. But it was filmed in 2022, so he wasn't involved in the actual filming of it because that was after his death. But I would bet that it's that he was involved in it earlier, because it's apparently been in the works in various forms for 40 years.
wow.
Okay.
So
Continue.
to add to the fun, when she is using her cook set, she used to be called Sally. It's so cute. And Joe teases her a little bit, like, now the last cook was not good at keeping her dishes tidy because Daisy had left a sticky cup. So, and she laughed because she knew it was her. That was cute.
It was adorable.
I thought the cutest part was when Mr. Bear made a little laugh at Joe's, like, if I had to depend on your cooking.
I loved before they actually got to it when she was getting it set up, and Joe turned the tables on the boys, and they were like, "Oh, what's this new play?" And she was like, "Nope, girls can't play with boys. You guys told her girls can't play with boys, so girls can't play with boys. This is for Daisy and Bess and me, so we don't want you here because it's for the girls."
It's a girl's name.
Sorry. You're the one who said that the girls and boys couldn't play together, and they're like, but new stuff.
And they were so nice. They're like, come play with us. Come play football with us.
And all of a sudden, they were like, "Oh, Daisy, we can totally play together."
Yeah.
And that was the food was involved.
Always food. That's actually how I got my husband to notice me. So,
I mean,
it works.
It's valid.
I can't cook well. Let's just say that my boyfriend makes fun of my cooking.
That's Joe in this instance.
Like severely so, he makes fun of my cooking.
Your cooking is not that bad, okay? So people know.
So for example, for Thanksgiving, my job was to bring the mashed potatoes and gravy. So I had this huge crock pot with not a lot of potatoes because I underestimated how many potatoes I needed, and 2 dishes full of different gravy, one brown, one
If this is going where I think it is, it's not your cooking, it's your transportation skill.
So me not thinking, I had the potatoes on aluminum foil and I kind of like folded it up so they wouldn't get anywhere. but I forgot to put covers on the gravy. So they kind of like just sloshed everywhere the entire hour drive to where we were eating. Um, and I kind of had a gravy island. I had a potato island in a gravy sea by the time we were done, and I don't know which gravy was which and where the potatoes were.
That sounds amazing to me as a diehard gravy lover. Um,
It was good, but you had to like dig through the gravy to get the potatoes.
I'm not seeing the downside here. I don't. It's so funny because I am such a uh such a gravy fiend, and I'm also like I love to eat like the crispy skin off the chicken or turkey, and that's how my family always, like, everybody in my family fights over that. And so I went the first time I went to a big Thanksgiving dinner with my husband's side of the family. And they don't always do a big Thanksgiving dinner, and his mom, it's a little bit different, but particularly like his dad's side, like they're serving Thanksgiving, and somebody had just sliced all of the bird, and there were like teeny tiny little slivers of skin left on some of it, but for the most part it was just meat that they had put there. They didn't just put the whole bird out, and there wasn't like all the crispy skin. And I think that they might have actually thrown some of the skin away so to get rid of the fattiness. And I was like, and
You could have given me the skin,
then they had
right?
like one little gravy boat going all around the table of like 15, 20 people. And like it got to me, and there was still gravy in there. And they all had like a drizzle of gravy. And I was like, I don't understand what is happening right now. And then they just sit and eat. And it's not like you're not allowed to talk, but like they just don't. And I'm like, what is this horror show? I'm so confused. Like, are my ears working? I don't, why is it so quiet at this meal? I don't understand what is happening. I have never been at a quiet meal in my life, certainly not with this many people on a holiday. I told my brother-in-law the other day that I am very firmly convinced that there are very few, if any, foods that cannot be improved with the addition of bacon, cheese, gravy, or chocolate, or more than likely at least two or possibly three of those, but I haven't yet figured out a food that I'm convinced would be improved by all four of them at once.
Yeah, it's the chocolate one that's iffy. Adding
Well,
chocolate with the other three,
there's a
it's
lot
like,
that, like, you can have chocolate and cheese together, like cheesecake.
yeah.
You can do chocolate covered bacon. It's the chocolate and the gravy that really throws everything into.
A
um
chocolatey gravy.
and I'm talking like meat based gravy, not just like any sauce, because obviously that opens things
Right,
up too
then
much.
it's a chocolate sauce. It's not
But but I said this to my brother-in-law the other day, and he was like, yes, most humans agree food tastes better with fat. I was like, okay, but I didn't say butter. I mean, also most things are improved with butter, but like I didn't say butter.
Oh, the story of ever so much more so.
So, um, back to Sally's cooking and her butter.
So she's
Um,
like making these cute little apple pies, and she puts her initial on one of them and makes it all pretty. And she's
and
so excited about it.
Joe's been so excited to do this with her, and then they got to actually doing it, and Joe's like, I don't actually know how to portion this. These are so tiny, and I don't know how much to include. Let's guess at it.
Yep.
I love that. I was like, that is 1 billion% a thing I would do. Like, be like, yes, we're gonna do this, and you need these specific things, and then go to do it and be like, what amount am I putting into this? I have no idea.
And then
I can't.
uh And then so while they're cooking the steak, because the butcher's boy, quote unquote, came to see them. It was the dog. Asia sent the dog up with the rest of the ingredients,
Them.
and he did eat them. And then
He's such a good boy.
but they're cooking the steaks, and they forgot all about the pie. When she went to go put the potatoes in, and they had burnt pie.
She's been
Also the
checking
pie
him so
landed on,
diligently too, like every 5 minutes.
yeah. And then the pie also beforehand landed on the floor, so maybe they didn't eat them.
Fine, 5 second rule. It's fine.
She had pinched it so tightly that it didn't fall open, and I was like, that's pretty impressive. I have
Pretty
never
impressive.
ever in my life managed to pinch the edges of a pie together enough so that it doesn't split open.
I'm thinking that's a thick pie crust.
Yeah.
Well, it is a tiny dish. I'm assuming it's like this big. Okay, it's
Yeah,
a kid's
yeah.
pie dish.
I was thinking
I was
around
thinking,
like
it's an old school easy bake oven.
I got my niece that just turned 5, at Christmas I got her one of those little like personal pan, like there'll be like a a cookie in a skillet or something that they sell at Christmas time. Um and I got her one of those, and then I got her um a couple of different muffin mixes and like a little spatula because she loves to cook. She loves to cook with daddy and help out with making different things. And um so I had gotten her a few of those different things, and um I think, oh no, I think it was actually like a little like 4 muffin tin thing that came with a mix, and then I got some of the mixes to go with it. But anyway, there were just little things, and she's made a bunch of different things in them now. And so that's kind of what I was picturing, was like those like individual skillet cookie size, or those like mini things
Right,
like that.
mini dishes. Yeah.
Yeah. I have mini rolling pins for my kids that are so hard to work with because you can't get any leverage because they're only this long.
And I
This
think
long handles. But they're so cute. I mostly got them so the boys could like feel like they were doing something while I was rolling stuff out. But now they're like, okay, I'm gonna use mine, and I'm like, babe, you're 9 and 12 now. You're like, it's narrower than your shoulders at this point. You can't get any leverage with it. Like, just use the big rolling pin. And they're like, I'm gonna use my rolling pin, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to buy them new rolling pins that are specifically theirs, just so that they stop trying to use those little ones. He'll give them to their little cousin.
all right, so quick finish up.
Yep.
Um
Sorry. I'm so chatty.
ends up making a good steak dinner with potatoes and veggies. Very delicious. The boys come up because they smell the wafting deliciousness and they're hungry and they want food too. Her food, like maybe next time. And then she has tea and she makes flapjacks for Demi the next day.
Which kid eats 6 of them?
Yep.
It's just
Hot ones. Hot ones.
Oh, and Teddy, me is hungry.
He's hungry.
I love him so much.
He
I
was
love.
so hungry he smelled the delicious food.
Well, he was there, but he was like playing and whatever. They're doing things, and then he was like, "Oh wait, there's been lots of cooking happening. I need food now. Mia's hungry."
So she just gives her work back to him so he'll ruffle through it. Like here. Cute. Yeah, and she cooks for she gets this whole list because everyone's so excited and Joe starts figuring out she goes, I don't know how to cook this stuff.
Yep.
Um,
But even then, I'm thinking like kids that age range, like a single potato to divide between them, even just a couple of them, does not seem like enough potato to me.
Nope. Like a potato a piece, maybe? That's
Doesn't sound like enough.
maybe even half a potato if you're serving it with something. But if you just have a potato, you need like a potato a piece.
Oh yeah, definitely. That is the nicest lunch I ever have. Can't I do it every day? Trust me, girl, you will get tired of cooking that often. At some point, you'll be like, can somebody else just be me? Do I have to think of what to make and then cook it every single day?
See, I actually was proud of myself. I actually cooked myself dinner today. Usually I don't have to, but today I did.
I made kind of a variation on something that I used to make for when I was selling Pampered Chef. And back way before that, it's a long-standing Pampered Chef staple recipe of a taco ring, but I combined like two different concepts. So we used to do a taco ring where you take the yep, I know words.
Bun
Pizza
pan?
stone. The pizza stone, and you lay
Oh,
it rolls out flat around it with the points going toward the middle, and then you put the taco meat and cheese inside like the end essentially, and then you take the points and roll them up over it so that it forms a ring, and they're all like overlapped, so it forms a full ring, and then you like cut it in slices after, and then people can add their toppings and whatever. Um, but like it's not enough. It's a good hors d'oeuvre type thing. It's not enough to have as like an actual meal unless you're eating the whole taco ring yourself, or at least half of it. Um, but I took that concept and I got a bunch of crescent rolls, and I laid them out. And my mother used to make um, pizza rolls. She probably still makes them, but I haven't had them in a while because with pizza rolls, you take like canned biscuit dough and you put them in muffin tins, and like, you know, flatten them out a bit and put them in so that they come up the sides, and then put pizza filling in it, and then you put another biscuit on top. And it's just too much biscuit to not enough filling for me. And so, and I prefer crescent rolls to most biscuits anyway. Maybe if it was like the buttery, flaky ones, but like the regular biscuits, not as much. Um, so I took crescent rolls and I laid them out like alternating, with the points going outward in a row on a cookie sheet, and then I put pizza fillings in it and then like folded up from both sides up over it. And I had essentially like pizza logs, like crescent roll pizza logs, and it was really good. Came out well. I liked them.
sounds it.
And my 9-year-old sitting there going, so have I had this before? Do I know if I like this? And I'm just like, baby, it's pizza. You'll be fine. And, and I'm like, I didn't tell him like, no, I haven't had this before. I just made it up. I probably didn't fully make it up. I just combined a couple different concepts together, and I'm sure somebody else has used some similar concept to do a pizza ring or pizza variation like this, but it was good. I like how it came out.
Yummy. Karen?
And anyway, so then they did she had Demi come up to tea.
And he ate a lot of the pancakes.
He ate 15.
Even though it said she only made a dozen, he says he ate 15, which makes math, no mathing. Math, not mathing.
Math don't math on that.
Especially since the dog ate 6.
Well, no, after the dog ate some, she made another batch and made a dozen.
Oh, so maybe there was some left over.
So yeah, the boys all saw what she was doing, and they were all excited for it. I was trying to find the description of when Demi came to tea, of how it all came out. Here it is. It was a truly delightful supper, for the little teapot lid only fell off 3 times, and the milk jug upset but once. The cakes floated in syrup, and the toast had a delicious beefsteak flavor owing to the cooks using the gridiron to make it on. Debbie forgot philosophy and stuffed like any carnal boy, while Daisy planned sumptuous banquets and the dolls looked on, smiling aptly. I just love that. Like, it was such a delightful supper. Nothing was quite perfect, but it was all perfect.
That's nice. I found it a very cute chapter.
It was. The whole thing was really adorable.
I was like, I just spent the last half an hour reading about it, cooking. But you know, like,
I'm
No,
afraid you
mine-
had too much by the looks of that table. No, I haven't. I only ate 15 cakes, and they were very little ones.
doesn't help your case there, Demi.
15 is still a lot.
It was
It
only
is
15
a-
out of 16. If that math actually all maths right.
Ouch. It hurts.
I mean, I meant out of 18. 15 out of 18. I didn't math right there. It is the dearest play ever made.
Yep.
Oh, this play ought to have a name. To which my brain says, it's called Cooking.
Oh,
It's
see, I
called
said Playhouse.
Hills.
Mine was Playing House. So,
I
I
want to
think
know
we'll
what's about patty
easy.
pans. Like,
Like
is it like
patty cake?
patty cake?
I think it's
Good
patty cake.
mix.
Yeah. And maybe that's, I wonder if she was combining patty cake with, like, cooking with pots and pans. Or if that's like an alternative, say, calling it patty pans or patty pans instead of patty cake.
I wonder.
Was
But
patty cake even a thing back then?
if you have ever baked a cake, then you are probably aware that far less padding goes into it than that game implies. Also, if you mark a cake before you put it in the oven, that's not on the batter by the time it comes back out. I really think that they might be talking about bread, not cake.
Yeah, I think but some breads are referred to as a type of cake.
Probably. But
Boston cream pies are actually cakes.
to my very literal end of the 1900s and beginning of the 2000s brain, it does make sense. Anyway, yep. So that was chapter 4, and we can save chapter 5 for next time because these are long chapters, and
That was chapter 5. We can save chapter 6.
I definitely said that right in my brain. Anyway,
That was what she meant, not what she said.
we can save chapter 6 for next time is definitely what I meant. Because these
I'm
are
just
long
gonna say
chapters.
kudos to Joe's patience in chapter 6 because
These are
I
long
don't think I
chapters.
can have that
At
much
least
patience.
one person here, at least one person here gets off on tangents a lot.
At least one.
At least one. Try all 3.
Anyway,
Well, I'm catching up on my
Scarf.
temperature scarf.
Hey.
I was 3 weeks behind, so I'm catching up.
well, I thought that I was going to be increasing more often on this than I have been. Because it's doing that thing where like I've been going straight down, but it's kind of still going out for a while here. I want to give it a little bit of like a pot belly, but instead of just going straight down like it did before. But I think that I think it's wide enough that it'll
Yeah.
just go down here and be good. I think it just needed that little bit of decrease and then increase to give it some definition. So
Yep.
I'll let you can.
That's huge.
It's huge, ginormous throw pillow. That's gonna be a throw pillow.
I know. This is why I decided I'm not selling it. I'm keeping it at this point.
That's half the heart.
Yeah, I still have to do the other half. You realize how much of my temperature yarn this used? Like a lot.
And you only did one row for each day.
Yeah, and I did single crochet. Like, actually, I did half double because that's what it requested, but still, I did the tiniest I could find.
It's the I don't know what I'm trying to say there.
It's 29 rows because obviously leap year. But
Mhm.
yeah.
Man, what are you doing for March?
I'm not doing anything because we passed March already. I was gonna do a bunny.
That would have ended up bigger.
Well, no, I would have only done I was gonna do the body in the colors and then the legs. Or I was gonna do the legs in the colors and have the legs be like 30 rows long. Be one of
Yeah,
those long-legged stuffies.
there are 31 days in March.
Yeah, that.
Anyway, all right. Well, we will meet again I'm going to knock my phone over. We will meet again in 2 weeks on April 16th. And discuss chapter 6.
Oh.
Are you not able to?
Is that your sleep study date?
No, 30th is my sleep study date, so 2 sessions from now.
What's it?
Okay. Well, by next week, 2 weeks from now, next session, we can come up with a plan for what we're doing about the subsequent session.
I just realized that was on a
On a
Tuesday.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to end the thing now.
Bye.
Just as soon as I remember how to do that. Yep, I'm gonna have to end our whole call because I'm not gonna be able to find where to otherwise.
Bye.
Somebody will laugh at me and then message me about how to do that. Okay, everyone say bye.